Hi. Russian President Vladimir Putin praised Indian Prime Minister for his independent foreign policy in the interest of his country and his people, despite pressure from the West to take sides in the ongoing Russia Ukraine conflict. Russian President Vladimir Putin made these remarks at the Valdai Discussion Club, which is a Moscow based think tank. At this Valdai Discussion Club, Russian President Putin further said that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a true patriot and also praised his leadership and also praised India's Make in India program. President Putin said that from a colonial past, India has risen to the modern power, and he described India as the world's largest democracy, and India and Russia have got good relations over several decades. President Putin also revealed a fact that Indian government has requested recently to increase supply of fertilizers, and President Putin responded by increasing the fertilizer supplies, which are absolutely essential for Indian agriculture, by more than 7 times. In fact, 7.6 times to be precise. And if we see further, India's oil imports from Russia also increased considerably recently because there is a reason for it. The West has imposed sanctions on Russian oil. So, what happened is Russia has given crude oil to India at a very discounted price, and India grabbed this opportunity, and India has been importing Russian oil in huge quantities of late, ever since this happened. In fact, the war started on February 24th, 2022 between Russia and Ukraine. So, as far as the latest reports are concerned, Russia has replaced or Russia has overtaken Saudi Arabia as India's second largest oil supplier. So, the top three oil suppliers are Iraq, Russia, and Saudi Arabia, as far as the latest reports are concerned. Iraq continues to be the largest oil supplier to our country, whereas Russia has overtaken Saudi Arabia to be the second largest oil supplier to our country, thanks to the discounted prices offered by Russia to India. So, another latest report says that bilateral trade between India and Russia, the traditional allies, has increased drastically recently thanks to the surge, thanks to increase in oil and fertilizer supplies from Russia to our country. In fact, India and Russia have good relations for several decades, and it dates back to the Cold War period when USSR was there. India and Russia have got annual bilateral summits for more than 2 decades. So that means the two leaders meet every year in either in India or in Russia, or alternatively between India and Russia. So India has these very special annual bilateral summits with only two countries. They are Russia and Japan. And India has recently started one more such kind of a mechanism called 2+2 dialogue. What is this 2+2 dialogue? 2+2 dialogue is a meeting of the foreign ministers and defense ministers of two countries. India has this 2+2 dialogue with only four countries. They are USA, Japan, Australia, and fourth country is Russia. So India has not only annual bilateral summits but also annual 2+2 dialogues with Russia. That shows how much importance we accord to Russia. And one more very significant fact is Vladimir Putin's remarks comes just days before our external affairs minister S. Jaishankar leaves for Moscow. S. Jaishankar will have a meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on November 8th, and both the foreign ministers will discuss bilateral as well as international issues. That means our external affairs minister S. Jaishankar will meet his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov on November 8th in Moscow. And again, this meeting comes just days ahead of the mega G20 summit that happens on November 15th and 16th, 2022 in Bali, Indonesia, where the leaders of 20 very important countries attend, including American President Joseph Biden, UK's new PM Rishi Sunak, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, China's President Xi Jinping, and other world leaders. In fact, Vladimir Putin is also expected to attend this Bali G20 summit in November 2022, where the main agenda will be on Ukraine crisis. India has not taken sides in this Ukraine war, but India's stand has been consistently only one thing, that is, both countries should come to the negotiating table. Both our PM and our foreign minister are saying that this crisis can be resolved only through dialogue and diplomacy since the starting of the war on February 24th of this year. So our stand is to solve this crisis, to resolve this crisis through dialogue and diplomacy. I will tell more about India and Russia's relations. In fact, India depends heavily on Russia for weapons or arms. So let's see something about this defense cooperation between these two very good friends, that is India and Russia. There is an organization called SIPRI, that is Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, and as per this latest SIPRI report is concerned, the world's largest arms importer is India, and Russia is the Russia is the largest arms supplier to our country. That means Russia supplies 46%, or Russia accounts for 46% of the Indian arms imports. This may be less when compared to the Cold War period, where India used to depend on Soviet Union very much, and the USSR used to supply 70 to 80% of arms to our country. But still, even today, Russia continues to be the largest arms exporter to our country. And India is purchasing S-400 Triumph anti-missile defense systems. India is purchasing 5 units of these very sophisticated anti-missile defense systems, because we have two neighboring countries which are our formidable enemies, that is China and Pakistan. That's why India needs Russia very much as far as this defense is concerned. You also remember BrahMos. BrahMos is a supersonic missile developed jointly by India and Russia. And BrahMos 2 is also coming up very soon. That BrahMos 2 is again a JV, joint venture between joint venture of India and Russia. BrahMos 2 will be India's first hypersonic missile. And we have a huge aircraft carrier called INS Vikramaditya. INS Vikramaditya is a huge, very big aircraft carrier which can carry multiple aircraft, and it is purchased by India from Russia. And there is one nuclear submarine called INS Chakra, which we have taken on lease for 10 years from Russia, and recently we have returned it. So there's many things for which India depends on Russia. And another latest news is uh, AK-203 assault rifles. AK-203 assault rifles factory is established in Amethi in Uttar Pradesh of India, and that is again a giant collaboration of India and Russia. And India and Russia have joint military exercises regularly going on. One is Indra. Indra is a giant army exercise. Indra Navy, giant naval exercise. Then Avia Indra is a giant air force exercise between India and Russia. So we collaborate very extensively as far as the defense is concerned. That's why it's very right to say that India and Russia are very close allies, and Russia has been our all-weather ally, or Russia has been our all-weather friend. What does it mean? That means Russia has been supporting India. Russia has been with India both during easy times and during the difficult times.